Alright, so I want to make this video talking about the Nintendo Switch 2 because they did release the trailer today. You can see here on my YouTube page, it's already shown as the first video. So let's go ahead and check it out real quick. So of course, you've probably seen this video 100 times, and I'm not going to show you it for the 100th time again, okay? You already know what it's about and what it has, so I'm not going to make you watch it again and hear the music 100 times, but I would like to point out some things I noticed in this trailer. So it starts off, showing the original Switch, and then they did a very Apple thing where it transitions into the new Switch, which is very more curved. It now has these ingresses, I guess you could call them, in the sides where the Joy-Cons will be magnetic. Um, so this is what I was really impressed by when I first saw it, was this brand new kickstand. Now, I don't have a Switch OLED. I know the Switch OLED has a better kickstand than the original Switch. My Switch I have is um, I'm looking at it, but I can't think of the name of it, the box, the Animal Crossing limited edition. It's just a fancy paint job on the original Switch. And the kickstand on the original Switch is actually garbage. How mine is intact, I don't know. This one looks very good, especially, let's bump up the quality for a minute. Like, you can see, like, in here where my mouse is, like, supports for the hinge. Now, it also is all the way back, as it shows here in the video. What I'm worried about is it sliding, because it doesn't look like it has anything to keep it from sliding. So that's going to be interesting to see. Also, the music's very loud, so let me mute it. And then they show the Joy-Cons here, which looks like they are an upgraded size in Joy-Cons, because I think the OLED Switch, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it uses the same Joy-Cons as the original Switch, which would be good if it did, but that will be something to see in time. And then you can see underneath the home button, there is what people is presuming is a C button, not confirmed yet. And then they have some different accent colors underneath the, that thing. I can't think of the name of it. But there is also accent colors inside the Joy-Cons, which they do protrude now, and you can see that it has this port that goes into the side. So is it magnetic, or does it just go into the does it just slide into the port and hold it that way? I don't really know. But you can see you have your sync button here, some shoulder buttons, and then these two on the end. I personally don't know what those are for, but that'll be interesting to see. And I really do like the aesthetics of it. I'm not gonna lie. But let's skip up in the video here. So they do show them being attached back on, which I'm presuming is magnetic. And the sound of it, I do agree that people are saying that the sound of the Switch 2 clicking is better than the original Switch. It gives me a lot of Steam Deck vibes, honestly. And will the base model be OLED? I hope. We're in 2025, it should be OLED. And if it's coming in at $399, which I don't agree with that price, it should be $349, which is the MSRP of the OLED Switch. That's my personal opinion. I don't like companies keep jacking up the price of everything. And then it's basically the same Switch logo, but with a 2 next to it. And then they just go into some more showing of it here. But this is interesting. Are we going to get another Mario Kart? Or is this going to be Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Remastered in HD for Nintendo Switch 2? Like, come on, guys. We released Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U. The Wii U. We need a Mario Kart 9. So this better be Mario Kart 9, because if it doesn't have Mario Kart 9, or a new 3D Mario that is not a port over or a remaster or remake, that will be a very determining factor of me buying a Switch 2. But if this is a new Mario Kart, looks very fantastic. Because the problem I have with Mario Kart 8 is it looks like it's trying to be too nice, but it doesn't do a job of looking that nice, in my opinion. It's like when they first showed off Donkey Kong Country Returns HD for the Switch, and people were pointing out that the Wii version looked better than the Switch version that's coming out, today, I think, actually. So that will be interesting to see if this is a new Mario Kart, how it will look, because if it looks like this, it looks phenomenal, way better than the Mario Kart 8. Now, this dock, I have heard that they're going to include extra hardware in the dock to make it more capable when it's docked and put out hopefully maybe 4K output. That'll be interesting to see. But I'm hoping they keep the USB-C power cord. I hope they don't switch to a proprietary power that it's also not hardwired to. Let's be fair. And then it shows just the one cord hooked up, which is very interesting. Like, you can see that there was one cord here coming out of the Switch, and it's playing on the TV. Does this mean that we could power the Switch 2 over USB-C and get video output out of it? That would be pretty crazy. And then they include that horrible thing that you put your Joy-Cons in to make it like an actual controller. I hate that thing. I have not met one person that likes it. Like, I don't think anybody uses it. So why they're including it on the Switch 2 is beyond me. And I also heard some people say, will the Pro controllers for the Switch be compatible with the Switch 2? Or are they going to make a new kind of Pro controller? I would hope that the old Pro controllers are forward compatible, because there's all the same buttons except for this, extra button down here, which I don't know if it's going to be a C button. Is it going to be remappable? I don't know. But it is coming in 2025. They are saying that Switch games with an asterisk plays Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive games as well as Nintendo Switch games. Asterisk. See that asterisk? Nintendo Switch 2 plays both physical and digital Nintendo Switch games. Certain Nintendo Switch games may not be supported or fully compatible with Nintendo Switch 2. Details will be shared, on the Nintendo website at a later date. So most of your first party stuff is definitely going to be backwards compatible. I think they're putting this because I don't think that all third party are going to be backwards compatible. Now, I don't know the architecture type of like the chip inside, but if it can play some Switch games, why can't it play all Switch games? This sounds to me like Xbox backwards compatibility, honestly, where the 360 could play like half of the original Xbox library, and then we went to the Xbox One, which could play even less of the original Xbox, and some 360, which was like a third less than half. And then we got to the Series, which just even made less, but then they kind of added, online support where you would basically download it to your hard drive off the store. I don't agree with it. I really think we're going to have a Wikipedia page for Nintendo Switch backwards compatible games because I think they're going to be that selective on it. I think this is to be like, oh my god, it can play Switch games and Switch 2 games, but we're choosing which. So I don't like that. That's another reason I didn't like this trailer completely. And I'm not as hyped by it as everyone else. And also, wait a minute, before we move on, this thing is huge. Like, look at the regular Switch. Look at the Switch 2. I mean, I would assume it's probably the size of the um, Switch OLED, but I don't have a Switch OLED, so I couldn't tell you. But it better be 1080p. It better output 1080p. It better do 60 frames per second on first party games. There's no reason a console in 2025 should not do 60 FPS, just like there's no reason a cell phone shouldn't have 120 hertz display on it in 2025, or at least 90. I digress. And then they show this last frame here when it goes up to it. 4/2/2025. I actually don't know when 4/2/2025 is. So it is a Wednesday. That's interesting. But here's another thing that I was thinking about too. The Switch was technically kind of announced technically in 2016, and then they started showing games for it, and then in March of 2017 it came out, right? So if we're just hearing about games and software and everything else on 4/2, I think people are very conservative saying that we're going to get a release date in May. I am very much hell-bent on June release date, and I wouldn't even be surprised early July. Here's another thing. So PS3 and the PS4 and the Xbox One, 2013 is when they came out. And then the Switch came out in 2017, so they were 4 years late to the traditional kind of timeline of 8th gen console. 9th gen came out in 2020. We're in 2025. So this console lasted 8 years, and it might be the best selling console of all time, the Nintendo Switch. But 8 years is such a large gap. This thing better come out of the woodworks and just hit on all cylinders, is all I have to say. So that's what I think about it. I'm skeptical, but I'm also kind of not at the same time because I'm seeing through Nintendo, okay? They're not fooling me. But we'll talk about it more later. That's just my quick impressions, and I'm sorry to talk so fast, but I'll see you guys in the next one.